and welcome to Parentology. I'm Chonizuk Selden, your host. Today with me we have Dechog Palmo, who is a first-time mother. She has a son who is 17 months old, and this is her first time as a mother, and we thought it would be nice to have a chat about her experience as a mother. So welcome to Parentology. Dechog, please tell me about your family first.
Thank you for having me. So, family as in there's me and my husband, and now in addition that's like our newborn son, baby. So not exactly newborn, more into toddlerhood now because he's 17 months. And yeah, so that's our family. But we also live with my mom. So that's us.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, and especially when you have a mother in the house, it must be very helpful.
Yes, for sure. Because any form of support is very, it just makes a huge difference. Especially, you know, when you have a baby, it's just very. It's just a whole another situation. If you're single or if you're a couple, you can live independently, but once you have a child, I think support system or help at home, it just plays a very, very big role, not just for your own well-being, but also for the child's environment. So family support, living with family, it's always helpful.
And what kind of support did you have from your mom? Like, how does she help?
Initially, obviously, everything like teaching us how to care for a baby. Because when you're new parents, you're completely alien to this whole experience. You know, like you have no idea how to even change a diaper or, you know, do all those.
Hold the baby.
Or hold the baby.
Yeah.
That's a newborn baby. You're like completely you're so scared because you feel like it's so fragile. So just even bathing the baby was a big thing. And so everything from just like feeding the baby, bathing the baby, changing diapers. So like having someone who's experienced or who's gone through that really, really makes a big difference. Yeah.
So your son, Rigzin, is 17 months now. Tell me about him. What kind of a boy is he?
Generally, he's a very happy chap. Like he's a very happy baby. So he's always smiling. He's always happy. So that's how he's been. But there are days or times where he's a little needy, cranky. So there's always like ups and downs. So yeah, now the little like nagging, cranky side, it all shows up. So
And does he have like a favorite in the house, like a favorite person in the house?
Yeah, for sure. It's me.
Oh, okay.
So my son's someone who's literally attached to me day and night. So every time a new member or a new person comes, then they try to hold him, he always comes back to me. So I think it's because I've always been there to care for him, and I'm always the person who's there by him, mostly. So we've got that attachment or that bond, and so I think I must be his favorite for sure. He must be a little obsessed with me,
he is.
Or likewise the other way as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is such a nice, rewarding feeling to know that there's a human being on this planet who, for sure, you can bank on this, wants you to be there by his side, and you feel so wanted and loved by this tiny human being. But are there also days for you when you feel like this hinders you from your freedom of doing things outside of home?
Yeah, for sure, because I feel it's difficult to leave my baby and even go outside or run an errand, go shop, because he always follows me. So of course it does hurt, but I mean that's just how it is for now. I'm sure this stage probably might not last too long, so that's what I keep telling myself. And I've also sort of given up everything to tend to him, care for him. So my life pretty much revolves around him for now. So at days when I think I want to go out, socialize or just have a relaxing day outside, or or shop. But then again, like my priority for now, it's just been him. So I think you just have to sacrifice, like at this stage, I feel like you just have to, like, sacrifice
Yeah.
your own freedom or the things you want to do. And I think that comes with becoming a mother as well.
You're right. And you said something very important. It sounds very daunting for new moms or people who want to be parents to hear something like, okay, you have to sacrifice your freedom, you have to give up on your social life to be with this child. But like Dechog mentioned here, it is temporary. This phase will pass. And trust me, you're going to miss this phase in the future. So this is short-lived, so enjoy while you're in that phase.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself to, get me through.
I think it's a good mantra for every parent having a tough time. This shall pass. This will pass.
Yes,
it has to.
It's just a stage or a phase or a time, So I think you just have to give it your best. Yeah.
Let's go back at a time when you were pregnant. How was your pregnancy?
So pregnancy went by like a breeze. Like I was like, oh, okay, like, this is good. Like I don't feel much pain, or maybe because also I was like physically, like, trying to practice yoga, meditate, do breathing exercises, and also I wasn't really like taking much stress. And it happened during 2020, like the lockdown, so pretty much like not much to do.
How about the journey after you gave birth?
So after I gave birth, I think it was a whole different world. Like it was like a big eye opener because before you're a mother or a parent, you only think about yourself, your well-being, what you want to do, what you want to eat. But after you become a parent, then I think there's another human, there's another soul, there's another being that you need to tend to care for. And that person comes first before yourself. So I think it taught me, like, just to invoke that what do you say, like selflessness. Selflessness. And also you worry so much as a new parent to a newborn baby. You worry so much about everything, like baby isn't feeding, baby isn't sleeping, baby is sick. If the baby is sick, then you feel so terrible, So it's just all of these emotions, and also like after you give birth, there's just like baby blues just kick in. Like you just feel very low.
Yeah. So you went through that phase too?
Yeah, I did actually initially, but just for a few days. And I think it's very like normal, like very according to our hormones as well, because you've had like a baby with you for like such a long time, like 9 months, and suddenly like something's left you. So I think it's very natural to experience baby blues initially, like a certain feeling of low, but it goes by, like I mean it goes away. It goes away in a few days, and yeah, so just everything, like just thinking about another person before yourself, before your own well-being. So I think that's how it's been.
They say that once you give birth, you're not the same person that you were before. Do you agree with that, or?
Yeah, completely.
How is the new Dechog different from the old one?
I think I'm a little more understanding, a little more patient, a little more compassionate. So just everything positive, just a little more like the better person, because it makes you a little less selfish, because you think about the baby first. Then you think about, like all the other mothers in your situation. Then you think about all the pregnant women. So it just makes you empathize, with all the other mothers who's, had this experience. So completely, it's changed me. It's obviously made me a better person.
What was the most challenging part of becoming a mother?
So the most challenging part for me was actually breastfeeding. Because I couldn't lactate for at least 5 days or 6 days. I just couldn't lactate, and having to feed a baby, a newborn baby, and not lactating was very traumatizing for me. Like, you know, like the whole breastfeeding experience was very horrific. Because I think for everyone it's different. Like some mothers lactate in 3 days or a day, or some as soon as they, you know, like have their baby, they're able to produce colostrum. I think, like
The first thick.
the first thick milk. So for everyone it's different, and for me, for some reason, like biologically, I just couldn't lactate. So that was the most challenging, and I felt so bad, like about, like, you know, myself and
Oh
just
yeah,
everything.
it's. I know what you mean when you say
Yeah.
I felt bad for not being able to produce for the one person that you're supposed to be in charge of.
Yeah.
And that guilt eats you up. How did you deal with it?
Yeah, so obviously I can't feed, I couldn't feed him, so I couldn't starve a newborn baby as well. The most precious being that, you know, that's just like come into the world. And although like people, society, I think just like in general, like, you know, like people are against formula feeding, but I had no option, so I had to opt for that. And yeah, so that's how I initially fed my baby. And
Did you feel guilty for feeding him formula?
no, no, because I felt bad. I couldn't lactate, but feeding him something, I didn't feel bad, because I'm actually feeding him something, you know.
Exactly.
And I'm thankful that there's an option that, you know,
Very
lactate,
true.
like mothers who can't lactate, or mothers who are not there, or like, you know, or babies who, you know, don't have mothers around. I'm thankful there's something there that, you know, can be fed to the child.
True, I agree.
I'm actually thankful. Like I'm like, of course, I am pro breastfeeding. I think it's got like immense benefits, you know, antibodies. It's like, you know, the best thing for the child. Like it boosts its immunity, everything. I'm aware of everything, but if there's no option, then I think that's the second best thing, rather than to starve.
True, very
starve
true.
a baby. Sorry.
No, I completely agree with you, Dechog.
Yeah.
We are encouraged to breastfeed for multiple benefits
Yes.
that Dechog just mentioned and more. And if you can, that's the best. However, if you cannot, I don't think women should guilt trip them into feeling bad for giving them formula.
No.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you and your child, I think women need to know that I'm doing my best for the
Yes.
child, just like she said. So I don't think you should feel bad.
Yeah.
Like you said, you need not.
Yeah, so after I started lactating, then then I did continue breastfeeding, and to this day he's a year and 5 months, and he still breastfeeds to this day. So
Do you have a target till when you will breastfeed him?
yes, like it's recommended by, you know, like WHO to breastfeed till 2 years. So my goal is I'd like to continue till 2 years.
I see, perfect.
Yeah.
When there was no production, I want to dive deeper into this. When there was no production, were there anything that you did to help with the production of the milk?
Yes, I actually I did everything under the sun. I tried to pump. I tried to pump, and then they were saying there was like a lactating a medicine prescribed, you know, by the hospital itself. So I took that, and then also everything, like I researched myself. So they were saying there were certain herbs that would help you, you know, lactate or help or increase the production of your milk. So for example, like fenugreek, cumin. So all of that combined, I'd like boil it for about 20 minutes, and I'd have the juice of it. Yeah.
The hospital also recommends you to continue with the child suckling on your breasts.
Yes.
Did you do that too, even when there was no production?
Yeah, for sure. So even when there was no production, I would latch my baby to the breasts and just hold him like as long as I could, like maybe like even like the whole day. So I tried like literally everything. And after that, I felt like it was just weighing me down. Like, like physically, I was having a lot of pain in my wrists because of holding the baby and latching him to my breast like 24/7. They were like, you should latch your baby and you should let him suckle on your breast, even if you don't lactate, because that's what, stimulates the production. So I did that. I did that. And yeah, so I did everything pretty much under the sun that and eventually, like, you start having wrist pain and you can't move your wrists. But, but when you're not lactating and you have like a baby to feed, everything is secondary. Like your wellness, you could look like a zombie, but like, you might not have slept well. So everything is secondary. Like you yourself comes like way down. Like, so you only what do you say, prioritize and think about like the little, soul or the little being, and you do the best you can, I think.
Eventually you did start producing more, but so that's good.
Yeah, so after I had my production of milk, but I think my baby is quite a big baby, so he'd be like wanting to feed, like, quite often, and I felt my production wasn't enough. Like, my milk production wasn't enough. It was a bit low, and then people, people, community, families, they recommend you to eat well, then you'd be able to produce more milk.
Yes.
Eat. So I actually force fed myself. I would eat a lot, and even like, to the point I wasn't even hungry. I'd still like, force feed myself to, lactate more or to have more milk production. So that resulted in me gaining about 8 or 9 kgs in the span of 3 weeks.
That after you gave birth?
After I gave birth,
okay,
yeah.
Wow.
So that also added to my postpartum weight, like the breastfeeding journey.
I see. How did that make you feel when you were force feeding yourself?
Not very good, but then all with the thought of, like a greater thought of of being able to, produce food.
Did you feel?
But it's not scientifically like
I was going to
proven
ask.
that.
But did you feel like you produced more because you were heavier?
More,
yeah.
Not really.
No, not really.
Not really.
Okay,
not really.
So it's just one of those old wives' tales
So just
you wouldn't mind trying because you are like prioritizing your
true.
child, right?
Yes, true. Maybe it could work for some women, but not for me, because I think I can't sit here and generalize like, more food doesn't mean more milk production, because maybe it could for some women, but not for everyone. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Dechog is also a yoga instructor. She has made yoga part of her life even before she got married or even had that baby Mo.
Yes.
So she's always been big on yoga. And now she, after 17 months of being a mom, or actually even few months before, since last year, she started getting back on doing yoga. And does that have to do with the postpartum weight that you're talking about? Or was this something that you wanted to start doing because this was a part of your life?
Not necessarily for the weight. So it was part of my life before the baby, during the pregnancy, and it's just always been something that's been part of my life. So that's why I wanted to get back to it. And also it has helped me before the whole, before having a baby, it's helped me as a person in so many ways. So that's why I wanted to get back to it, and not necessarily for the weight. Although it was a little uncomfortable because I've never weighed so much in my entire life. So it was a bit uncomfortable, like, carrying all the extra weight. But there's nothing wrong with it if you're comfortable carrying weight, but it was very uncomfortable for me. So partly I wanted to feel good in my own skin, to feel comfortable in my own skin, to be a fitter parent, to be a fitter mom to my baby that I need to tend to, and to also mentally feel sound and emotionally feel balanced, to be centered, to be grounded, and just to feel balanced. Being a mother, I think that's very important.
Dechog is the second fit mom, I should say, that I've invited on Parentology. First, last week we had Yitso, and this time it's Dechog. Please let this be known that in no way are we encouraging you to lose your baby weight, postpartum weight. Or we're just listening to a mother who decided that she has to pick yoga up so she can be centered, so she can focus more on her child, on herself, and feel like herself after the baby. It's very difficult. You feel like your whole world has changed after you give birth.
True. It is important as a mother to, work out, because the difference you feel, like mentally, physically, it just is a whole another,
True.
another feeling, because you feel like you're a happier mother. So I think your child, so it is important to at least take 30 minutes or 20 minutes for yourself to at least meditate or just like go for a walk, because then you're a much sounder mother, you're a much better person. So I think that affects your relationship with your partner, with your child, with your family. So I think it is, I would recommend, like mothers at least taking 20-30 minutes for themselves to do something like a little walk or meditation or yoga, or just something that they feel like it's their time. And I think 20-30 minutes isn't, it's manageable.
True,
Because
very
I
true.
didn't start initially like right away after having a baby. I only started once the baby was about 5 to 6 months. So then I'm like completely recovered, my body is rested, and I feel good to start any activity.
And this is true not just for mothers. The more yoga or any sort of exercise has direct impact on improving your mood, your general health and your mood, especially when you're dealing with things like anxiety, a change in situation, your stress, and your daily routine. It has a direct impact, and it improves your mood, especially your mood, so much. Which is why I think, like Dechog said, it's recommended for mothers to spend anywhere from 20 to 30, if you can, an hour for yourself. Meditating is also fine, but with the more, you don't have to be sweating and working
also
out.
breathing exercises, or it's not for shallow reasons to lose weight or for a certain body aesthetic. It's just for your own well-being. And I think a child deserves a sound mother, like
Very true. Very true. So Dechog, now that you are a mom to a 17-month-old son, how has all experience and everything in the last 17 months, how does that make you feel looking back?
It's been a whole journey. Like it's been a whole roller coaster ride. Like initially, having struggled so much with a newborn baby, not knowing anything, how to care for a baby, how to feed a baby. So it's been, initially, it's like, just looking back, I think it's been a whole roller coaster ride. Like there's been joys, there's been like lows, there's been a whole experience that I've learned, and that's grown me as a person. So I think it's, more than anything, it's taught me the most in my life. So far. Like every experience teaches you something, but I think this has been something that's taught me the most.
Any messages, advice to young moms?
My advice to young mothers out there is, it might be difficult, you might have struggles, you might have lows, and it might even get crazy at times when, a baby doesn't sleep or feed well, or in case if the baby is sick. It might be very difficult, but it's normal to feel that way, to, because obviously you being a new mother is a whole new experience. You've never had this experience before. So just be easy on yourself, hang in there, stay strong, be resilient, and with time it'll only get better. And you'll get the hang of it once you start getting more experience. So just hang in there and stay positive, be calm, and stay happy.
We don't have a lot of experts that come here because, to be very honest, parenting is such a topic that there are no experts. There's no, Dechog is not here because she's a perfect mom. I'm not hosting the show because I know how to be a perfect mom. There's no such thing as a perfect mom. We're all trying to be good moms. So, and it really adds value to the show that there are different types of moms with different experiences of pregnancy, of childbirth, and of motherhood sharing. And I think it's already building a community, and I'm glad you're a part of that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.